This is the Via Rail Canadian, Canada's longest train ride for 96 hours from Vancouver, Canada, all the way to Toronto. My friend Mike and I are riding this train, and I'm gonna take you along to see beautiful landscapes like the Rocky Mountains, show you life on board, and also the highlights of each province we cross. But let's start at the beginning. And just like that, I'm at the Pacific Central Station in Vancouver, about to meet my friend Mike, and we're gonna take the train all the way across Canada from Vancouver to Toronto. Don't know what's gonna happen and don't know what to expect, but I'll just go with the flow. But let's see if we can find Mike. The check-in for the train is inside the beautiful Pacific Central Station. And I also found Mike and we got the tickets.
Good.
This is it?
This is it. This is us. 213, and we gotta go find our room.
We are staying in the Sleeper Plus cabin, which...
Oh! We have our own bathroom.
But more about the room later in the video. It's time to leave Vancouver and show you a little bit more about the train. We just left Vancouver, moving quite slowly, eh? Is that how it's gonna be?
It's gonna be slow. It's gonna be long.
The Dome Car, my favorite place on the train, gives you elevated views of the surrounding landscape. This is where we're gonna spend 80% of the day when it's light out. Just below the dome is the bar, where you can get alcoholic drinks, water, juice, and some snacks. You can enjoy these drinks in the lounge, which is located right next to the bar. The lounge also has a coffee station where you can get a fresh brew all day round. And there's of course a dining car, which I'm gonna show you a bit later when it's dinner time. For now, there's not much else to do than sit back, relax, and enjoy the landscape roll by. How late are we?
We're 30 minutes behind schedule.
It's gonna be fun. I hope we make up some time because we plan to see a baseball game in Toronto, which we would miss if the train arrives late. Then it is dinner time, and we go to the dining car to eat.
Welcome to the dining car.
You're seated on tables of 4, which is nice, so you can get the chance to chat to other people traveling on the train as well.
We've just been sat with some new friends that we're meeting, so.
You can decide between 4 different dinner options that change every day. There's also a vegetarian option. Can't decide, like it all sounds good.
Well, it's good.
Yeah. The food is so delicious and everything is presented really well. There's also a starter, either soup or salad, and dessert, which was a really rich chocolate cake today. After dinner, it's bedtime, and we're going back to our cabin to wind down.
Yeah, a little
coffee, huh?
Excuse me, yeah.
Wow. The cabin has its own sink and toilet, which is nice, but still can be a little tight for 2 people. It's gonna be so weird sleeping on a train. It's kind of moving, but I'm sure I get used to it, right?
Oh yeah. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it looks quite comfortable here. You sleep in bunk beds, which were actually quite comfortable, and given that I'm 6'5", I had enough space. Yeah, so this might be my favorite part, when it's all snowy and the mountains are so close. There's a river running here, so nice. And there's no one up here in the Dome Car. Look at this. It's just nice here to sit here and enjoy the view. And let's see if I can find some coffee. How'd you sleep, Mike?
Not as well as I thought I would. I woke up a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Same. Breakfast is first come, first serve, or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we could go do that.
For breakfast, you can choose between 4 different options. Some of them change every day, but you can always get the classics, like the transcontinental or an omelette. Even though the food is delicious, the best thing about breakfast this morning is the view out of the window with the snowy landscape rolling by. Gotta say that the crew is very, very nice and friendly here. The mountains are getting bigger and bigger, which means we are almost at the first stop of the day. All right, we made it to Jasper. Okay, so the train just parked right there, the mountains in the background. The station is right there. Mike is talking to some people there. And the town is right there. We're gonna find some food and drinks. Mike was talking about some beaver tail thing. I never heard of that and I don't know what that is. So I'm excited to find out. Beaver tails are a Canadian fried dough pastry, and in my 5 years of living in Canada, I've never even heard of one. So Jasper is a perfect place to try them. So good. But Mike has another stop planned before we head back on the train.
Hello again.
We only got 1 hour, but there's always time for a beer and Canada's national dish poutine at Jasper Brewing Co. Back on the train, we're going through probably the most scenic stretch of the journey.
How about this? What a way to travel.
The epic Rocky Mountains on both sides of the window just leave us in awe. Having seen them many times before, but never from a moving train, made it extra special for me. So if we pass Edmonton, that's the furthest I've been east.
Cool.
So I'm excited to explore some more provinces. Eventually we have to leave the mountains behind and we arrive in a more flat part of Alberta.
This is the back end of some small Canadian towns. Wabamin, Alberta.
Before we make it to Edmonton. Made it to Edmonton! Not much around here. I think this is downtown back there. So the station's quite a bit outside of town. But yeah, it's cold here and not much around.
I just woke up in Saskatchewan.
Many people told me that once you hit Saskatchewan and the prairies, it gets super boring. But I want to see how I feel about it for myself. So I'm excited for the day. The morning already starts great with a beautiful sunrise and fresh coffee.
You found the good stuff?
Good morning to you. Our first sunshine of the trip.
It's beautiful. Not long before we have our first stop of the day, Saskatoon. So we're just in Saskatoon, there's the station. Just arrived, we have half an hour to stretch our legs and get some fresh air, which is nice. This is the train we're riding. It's a pretty long train. The station's pretty empty, there's not much around. And yeah, we're just waiting for refueling and then we're off to Manitoba. Okay, so I have been on this train for 2 nights now. It's the 3rd day on the train and I haven't showered yet. So I think it's time that I'll check out the shower. I saw it already on the hallway. It's pretty small and I'm pretty tall, so I'll see how that goes. I can't believe I'm showering on a train right now. It's so cool. So I just finished showering. The shower was actually pretty clean. The train wasn't moving too much, so that was good. There's actually way more space than I expected here. So there's this change room and then you got the shower itself. And a good water pressure, and now I feel so refreshed after. The longer I spend in the prairies, the more I appreciate the uninterrupted views from the train. Endless views on fields make a great experience and in my opinion is not boring at all. We made it to Manitoba. This calls for a celebration.
Cheers. Our 4th of 5 provinces.
Yes.
Well, not the 4th or 5th beer.
First one.
The first one. Exactly.
Always the first.
While we are enjoying our beer in the lounge going into Manitoba, it's time for a quick room tour of the Sleeper Plus cabin we are staying in. Okay, this is the Sleeper Plus lounge. You get your own room. There's 2 seats. There's a sink, a nice big window where you can see the scenery outside. Actually, when you sleep in the lower bunk bed, you can see out from the bed, which is cool. And then you have a small toilet, some storage space up there, some mirrors. And yeah, this folds out into 2 bunk beds, and yeah, I'll slept pretty well here.
Yeah. Don't forget you have access to a shower too.
Shower is on the hallway, and it's really big and spacious, and actually exceeded my expectations. Okay, those cabins are the most luxurious ones. You get your own bathroom, you get a huge room, and your own shower, which is nice. You also get complimentary alcohol. You don't have to pay for alcohol. But those rooms are pretty expensive, and I think the best deal is to get a cheaper one. We can't leave the prairies without experiencing one of the epic sunsets that they are known for, and we're in luck. The weather is great, and just as we're finishing dinner, the sky turned red. They say the sunset in the prairies are really beautiful, and I only can confirm that. Look at this. I see city lights behind me, and it's a little city called Winnipeg. I've never been here. Furthest east I've ever been in Canada, and I think Mike has some activity planned. We have 1 hour to do something, And I'm just along for the ride and see what he comes up with. So we're at the Fort Carey Hotel. Looks really fancy. I hope they let us in with our outfits. But I'm sure Mike knows everyone there.
Everyone.
Okay, so we're having a fancy cocktail called the Paper Plane. And it's really good. But we have to kind of hurry because we're leaving.
We're out of time already.
The next day we wake up in our fifth and final province, Ontario, which we're going to be crossing for 1.5 days. So the thing about Ontario is there's a bunch of nothing. We drove through a lot of forests, a lot of lakes, frozen lakes, and there's not much exciting stuff. There's also no service. There's a crazy person out there. And yeah, so now we come to a stop in the station called, I don't even know, it's a small town, but I'm gonna go outside. Mike is already outside. I'm gonna check it out, how this town is gonna be. I see some people there, so might be something exciting happening. All right, let's look for Mike. I don't know where he went. I think I see him over there. We made it to Hornpain Station. Not much around. I see some houses here. So I found something interesting about Hornpain. It's actually the geographic center of Ontario. And I don't know if Ontario is the biggest province, but that's a cool fun fact, I think. Yeah, but other than that, there's not much to do here. So I might just walk around a little bit, get some steps in, and then head back on the train. The rest of the day is rainy and there's not much else to do than watching the raindrops hit the windows. But the next morning, which is our last day on the train, starts with sunshine and nice scenery. This has me reminiscing on the whole train ride. 96 hours on a train seemed like a long time, but it really didn't feel like it. Great changing scenery and good company made this trip incredibly entertaining. Unlike a lot of people told me, the prairies haven't been boring at all and were actually one of my favorite parts of the journey. And the food has been super delicious.
That's it, Seb.
We made it.
You made it your first time, your furthest east ever in Canada.
Yes.
Your first time on a train across Canada.
I'm happy that I said yes to the spontaneous adventure with Mike and that I got to see Canada from a different perspective. And the best thing, we arrive in Toronto ahead of time, which gives us enough time to watch the baseball game. That's a great ending to the trip. Hot dogs, beer,
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays.